Hey everyone, I know. I'm supposed to remind everyone to subscribe, so please do. Anyway, this video about kindness I had planned for a while, but I think it's even more apropos today. 2 days ago, there was a post on Twitter about a 9-year-old boy with special needs from Australia. You may have seen it. The boy was on video crying because he was being bullied so badly for being special needs that he wanted to end his own life. Now, if the video was real or staged, there's been some question, but the fact of the matter is, if it starts a conversation about bullying, that's always good. It was difficult to watch either way, partly because no one wants to see a child that young lose hope, but mainly because I've been exactly where he is. And the question has always bugged me, why are people so unkind when we are told from childhood that being unkind is wrong and that it makes you feel bad? That's the topic of today's video, the kindness myth. And that myth is that being unkind makes you feel bad. It's simply not true. And I know this is a bit of a controversial position to take, but I think it's important for everyone to understand, at least in part, why people are mean, why they're unkind. And that is because being unkind makes someone feel good. It provides them with something. It's true, in a number of ways. And until we really face that ugly side of people, it's going to be that much harder to try to curtail. Now, first of all, being unkind makes the person who's doing it feel powerful, right? Makes them feel that, I'm better than you, and I made everyone laugh. Look how powerful and cool I am. I know, sounds cheesy when I say it like that, but it's true. And it's pretty much the universal tool of every bully in existence. The more someone can belittle their target, the less vulnerable and more powerful they feel. And in that interaction, in that moment, I guarantee you the voice inside their head isn't going, oh, I feel so bad about doing this. I'm being unkind and that's mean. Oh, I feel horrible. Yeah, that's not happening. It's more likely that that voice is saying something like, yeah, kick their weak asses, stupid losers. They deserve it because I'm cool and they're not, and that makes me even cooler. And that feels good. That feels good to them. We tell this lie that bullies are tortured, unhappy souls who do what they do out of fear of rejection and desperation to be accepted. But the truth of the matter is, bullies bully mainly because it makes them feel good, okay? It's an uncomfortable truth, but it's the truth nonetheless. Sadly, though, that's not the only way being unkind makes people feel good. Humans are social creatures by default, right? So we seek out other humans to be with and eventually form a group or a herd, if you will. And inside this herd, there are those who derive their value by how much social status they can achieve. And what's the easiest way to accrue social currency? You guessed it, being unkind, excluding people, gossiping about people, tearing down people behind their backs. And again, this is not something that makes these people feel bad. It just doesn't. They get to climb the social ladder inside their little herd, and that makes them feel important, feel popular, feel adulation, become the queen bee of the mean girls. And you don't get to be in charge of the mean girls without participating in your fair share, well, in more than your fair share, of social unkindness. And once again, here we are at a place where unkindness feels good and serves their purposes. I know, it's sad, but it's true. Finally, there's a traditional reason that bullies and social climbers engage in unkindness, and that's because they've never been shown another way. Now, I have a feeling that during this video, a good number of you were saying things like, yeah, maybe when you're a kid, bullying and unkindness feels good, but then you grow up and it feels bad. And that brings us to one of the most uncomfortable topics about being unkind. And something that I think a great many people don't even want to consider, and that is the fact that adults, parents, can be just as unkind as kids. It's true, and it's easy to prove. Where do you think that most bullies and others who are mean learn it first? You know I'm going to say at home. The simple fact is that there are many adults in this world who are unkind, and they teach their children to be unkind, whether on purpose or simply by osmosis. It happens. I know this is something that nobody wants to think about because we all assume people grow up, understand how their actions affect others, and make better choices. But unfortunately, the evidence just doesn't bear that out. Adults gossip, healthy adults park in the handicap spot, adults exclude other parents' children. Adults feel good when they go on social media and brag, knowing it's going to make someone else feel badly. Adults also feel good when they are unkind. Not everyone, not by a long shot, but more than you think. I promise. Now, traditionally, the more marginalized groups, the disabled, the different, the shy, they're the ones who bear much of the brunt of bullying and unkindness, right? But it can happen to anyone. It's just that those groups are generally considered to be weak and thus won't put up much of a fight, so they get the bullseye put on them. It's a horrible fact of life, but it's true. Ironically, though, the disabled, the shy, the different, in my experience, they are consistently the most interesting, the most empathetic, and the most kind people you will ever meet. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they are consistently maligned. And they know what it feels like and would never willingly do that to someone else, and in fact go out of their way to be kind. Look, we tell our kids, we teach it in schools, we write it in books that being unkind makes you feel bad, so don't do it. It's a huge lie, though, and most people, most kids, figure out really early on that being unkind is basically a shortcut to social status, to power, to feeling important. And unfortunately, obtaining those things by actually being kind takes a lot more time and work. But here's the thing we should stress. That doesn't mean it's not worth it. I promise. Despite what people say, and we'll get into this further in another video, it's not always easy to be kind. It takes work and willpower and desire to do. But, the first time you hear someone say something about you like, he's so kind, or she's such a caring person, you know. You just know you never want to be any other way. I know. Totally cheesy and sappy and peace, love, and harmony-ish. But it's true. It's true. True. How do we fix it? It's hard to say. There are always going to be people who feel good about being unkind. There just are. And to pretend otherwise is a pipe dream. It's a farce. It's sticking our heads in the sand. There will always be those who take the shortcut. It's part of being human. What we can do, though, is start to tell the truth about unkindness. Have a real discussion. Yes, it may feel good in the moment. Heck, it may feel good forever. But kindness and being kind feels better. And yes, it takes willpower and diligence, but ultimately that's what makes it so much more rewarding. It's a tough topic, and there's so much more to discuss, but this is a start. I tell you to always meet unkindness with overwhelming kindness, but that's not always going to work either. You're human. You're going to fail. You're going to get pissed. You're going to get fed up and say things you don't mean. You just are. I fail all the time, right? But I keep trying. Because you never know when some insignificant kindness is going to mean the world to someone else. And that I can tell you by experience. But that's a story for another time. Look, if you liked the video, please share, please subscribe, write an email, comment, I'll respond. And in the meantime, as always, be kind, rewind, keep on keeping on, and we'll talk soon.